And it
And I
says we're
just got a
live.
notification.
We're live.
Live. Why ain't it?
Live.
Oh,
What's
I got that.
up?
I got that live notification, yo. Yeah. Oh, let me mute my computer so we don't have feedback. There we go.
I'll turn mine down and just sit here too. There we go. What's this?
Dude, this is my new getup. What? You think I'm not gonna look cool on stream now?
You got C-dub on your glasses?
Heck yeah, dude.
We got Daniel Nora in the house.
This is gonna be a lit stream tonight because I am so tired.
You look like you're stoned.
I plead the fifth.
I plead the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th.
I know who you can blame for this whole name on my sunglasses crap. I'll give you the fast backstory on it. When I started the Pimp My Train series, Danielle was watching it and she goes, "There's one problem. You don't have your name on your sunglasses and you don't have your maker coin on." I'm like, oops. So I go on Amazon and order up like the cheesiest like 90s looking sunglasses I can find, get like a paint pen, and I'm like writing on there like, yeah, next time I go to film my next train video or something, I'm just gonna be like this the whole time, like, yo, what's up, people? We're gonna pimp this loco right here because I cool, like, just like be complete idiot on camera. She's all like, perfect.
Hey, I see we got Lucky 13 in the house. We got Daniel Nora. We got King Random. We got Rick. How you guys doing tonight?
We got a full party in here. This is like really pimping. This is like the complete opposite of when we held my Saturday night stream when like nobody showed up but my dad.
We kept hearing, do it on Saturday, do it earlier. We did both, and 6 people showed up for the entire night.
Like only Rick shows up on chat, which was kind of embarrassing. I felt bad because it was like right at the end of the stream, Rick comes on and we're just like, ah. Felt bad for you, Rick. You missed all the good stuff. And we got AJ in here. What's up, dude?
What's up?
This is like totally not fair that when Jimmy does the stream, he gets everybody. And when I host the stream, like my dad only shows up. Oh, I got the email notification in my inbox, son. I'm gonna watch the show. Oh, where did it go? Oh, technical difficulties.
He's watching right now. He's going to beat up on you.
It's all good. I give him so much crap off camera, but it's all good.
King Random says you're ignoring him. What's up with that?
Ah, I totally forgot. Sorry about that. I've been crazy busy lately, and I've been terrible at checking my email, so sorry about that.
Average Joe is laying in bed watching us. Sweet.
Sweet. So if he just starts typing random letters, we'll know that he fell asleep. It'll be a sleep message. We'll just have to find him out.
Well, you want to go ahead and get started with the topic?
Sure. So, in short, this is kind of like a continuation of all those other topics that we've talked about. But recently, Jimmy posted the link to that article where they were pretty much equating 3D printers to like commercial CNC machines and pretending like with a 3D printer, anybody could print a viable, like pretty much like pull a viable weapon off of their 3D printer and go out and commit illegal and immoral acts with the thing. And yeah, Jimmy's got the link up on his page right now. And the thing is, it's like, we've already known for years that you could 3D print a weapon. I mean, I almost feel personally like articles like this have done more to hurt people to hurt the industry as a whole than Defense Distributed and their whole cocky little, hey, look what we can do with the 3D printer, but it's not really a hobby one. So good luck, ever did with their downloadable crap. And the truth of the matter is, anybody could go online and download the plans for something or find the blueprints for something. And if they had enough time, 3D model the stupid thing up and make it. But I mean, the one thing that really irritates me about these articles is the fact that you can tell the people that are writing them know absolutely zip, zero, nada, zilch about manufacturing. And the thing that really gets me is when they equate machining to being the exact same process as 3D printing, or they keep acting like, well, if you have a milling machine in your garage, you can just instantly push a button and mill an AR-15 lower and go out and use it. And it's like, you guys don't know squat. You should go watch 5 minutes of YouTube videos and figure out it's not as easy as you think. You know,
Exactly.
it's this cocky mentality that these people have, that they're like doing God's work, spreading the good news, is like really irritating because they know absolutely nothing, and then the ill-informed masses get kind of like, oh, well, I read this article online and oh, it fits my conspiracy theory, and then they like go off the deep end, and it's like, guys, maybe do like 5 minutes of research before you know, go out there and spread fear-mongering information that it's, you know, it's doing more harm than help. And I'm not saying that I don't feel like there are not problems within the community in terms of, you know, protecting people's intellectual property, respecting copyrights, respecting patents. I'm not saying that those are not, you know, problems that are in the community and things that need to be addressed, but I feel like those are a bigger issue, especially considering that this is a new and emerging technology, like, you know, back when like back in your era more with copy machines and VHS recorders and cassette recorders. You know, the ability, when those things came out, they created their own set of challenges that we had to work around. Because when the VHS player came out, people could record a show on TV and then go back and play it later, or loan that VHS to a friend, or illegally make copies of a movie they saw on TV. You know, you kind of get where I'm going. I feel like, you know, there's bigger problems that the media is glossing over and the community is glossing over that really need attention. And all the fearmonger crap is getting all the attention, and it's really irritating because this is not new. This has been known about for years, but yet people are still acting like they can jump on the hype train and act like, oh, well, you know, it's not new information. And it's like, it's old. You've
Right.
already beat it to death. Move on.
Well, let's
You
kind
know?
of get into this article. I put a link in the chat for the article that we're talking about, and pretty much it's titled "Fear of Downloadable Guns Becoming a Reality." And as usual, it's always the Australian police that usually have a problem when it comes to this. Now, in Australia, guns have been outlawed for several years now, from what I've read and everything. And they had a big problem that came up to where the public, everybody decided that guns didn't belong in their society, so they wanted to remove the guns from it. And that works perfectly fine when it comes to law-abiding citizens. But then once again, the reason why criminals are criminals is because they don't abide by laws. So
Jimmy's just discovered a radical new concept here called criminals don't care about rules or
yeah,
punishment.
pretty much. So anyway,
Newsflash.
let's see if I can get this to scroll down. It's acting up on me now. Great. There we go. Slowly moving. I'm maxing something out here.
Your GPU is probably hating you right now.
Probably. Okay. So here we go. It shows a picture of this gun up here, and it's a Texas-based Solid Concepts 3D printed gun. Now, we remember that as being the one where they take, what, aluminum, and they can hit it with a laser and forge a tool or whatever out of it. And how much is that machine again?
That machine, well, first things first, to slightly correct you, they can use various metal powders like steel, stainless steel, titanium, aluminums, things like that. So they can use multiple materials. But yeah, those machines are easily going to run you about 100,000 plus, and they're very, when I say dangerous to use, Alex over at Protopasta was telling me a story about how one of the guys at his old job was working with a titanium 3D printer, and he almost died from burns that he received. Like the dude was permanently disfigured and scarred because of a titanium metal powder fire that had happened. And I'm going to link to some metal powder fire videos. So these machines are definitely, not only are they extremely expensive, but they're also extremely dangerous because of the flammability of metal powder. So you throw that factor in there as well. Besides, even if you have access to one, they're not, something that any old Joe Schmo can walk up and use. You have to have special equipment, special PPE, special training. They're definitely, they're more dangerous in my opinion than CNC machines. They're crazy dangerous if you're not careful.
Right. So anyway, we get into this article. It says law enforcement agencies and more importantly, politicians have been fearing the downloadable gun. Anyone can download plans from the internet and use a cheap 3D printer to print a firearm. Okay, first off, we all know that's not true. You cannot 3D print a firearm with a cheap 3D printer.
Jerry over at Barnacle Nerdgasm already proved that. And I think, didn't he eventually get the lower that he printed for his AR to fit? But it was like, he goes, I wouldn't try shooting this thing.
No,
even if it's...
He said that it would take hours and hours of fitting in order to make it work. And he said, and then on top of that, you might get one or two shots off, and then the blowback would end up destroying it anyway because it was printed out of PLA. Because if had he done it in ABS, it would have warped so bad that he would have never got to work.
Yeah, and if you even tried to do it in, say, something like PC or nylon, even then you'd still have warping and other issues. So yeah, it's like, I remember watching the Defense Distributed video clip. The dude gets like 3 shots out of his AR with the printed lower and just goes, and the whole back end buttstock falls off, and it's like, oh, not going to work anymore.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty much they're talking about 3D printers, and then they step down to those fears are turning into reality. The 3D design files for guns are readily available, but the threat isn't from cheap 3D printers, though, because they can only produce low-quality weapons, usually in plastic. It's from the more accurate computer-controlled milling machines. So now we're talking about CNC machines, and they pretty much discounted everything about 3D printers, but yet that was the basis of their article when they started out, was blaming 3D printers.
Yeah, I know, and that's the thing that really irritates me is they drag you in with 3D printers, but then buried in the article, they're like, "Oh, we're actually not worried about that. We're worried about like that $50,000 professional mini mill that a guy who has the proper licensing and knows what he's doing is using in his garage to create legal weapon parts because he has the proper FFLs and tax stamps and all that stuff, or he's abiding by the rules and not creating a finished product. He's just doing a majority of the work, and the end consumer, you get where I'm going.
Right. And so then, as of this point, they've discounted the 3D printing part of it, and they start talking about computer controlled milling machines. So we're talking about CNCs at this point, right?
Yeah.
So now,
which is exactly the stuff that I was at Hostech viewing the other day.
Exactly.
Literally.
So now we step down here to what? And it's not individual criminals that we should worry about. It's organized gangs. These observations emerged during a discussion of the potential threat from 3D printed guns at the 5th International Conference of Cybercrime. So now we're jumping back into 3D printed guns again.
So what are they going to do? 3D print like little handholds or something like that? I mean, like really the only practical thing that I can see that you could 3D print for a weapon that would be directly used by it would be, say, a custom mag that you can't get in your state, California, because of rules. But if you make your own, it's kind of like this legal gray zone, and I'm not going to say if it's legal or not because I really don't keep up on that, but you kind of get where I'm going.
Right. It pretty much, if we go from a standpoint of an AR-15, the only part of it that you could really 3D print and it would be durable enough to worry with would be either the grip or maybe the buttstock. But even at that, I wouldn't even trust the 3D printed buttstock, to be honest with you.
I know legal gun owner Van Full of Puppies, aka Lauren Abas Designs' husband. He was able to 3D print some nice grips for his AR and other stuff, but that's because the dude's using it at a target range, using it in a legal manner, makes it easier to handle. I mean, I've shot a friend's AR-15 and it was modified with a thicker barrel, so it weighed more. So whenever I shot the thing, I'd always use like a bag to support it. So I can understand why having a secondary grip makes it easier to handle and stuff, but it's like in all actuality, the only stuff that you can really functionally produce on a 3D printer that you would trust is pretty much hop-up parts, and even then you're somewhat limited in what you can do, obviously.
Right. I was trying to get down here to the part that whenever I read this, it just got to the point that's like, really? But the computer's moving so slow at the moment. I don't know why. You know what? Let me go ahead and kill the playback and
hey, it's me.
See if that speeds it up. Nope. I don't know what's going on here, but it's really moving slow. Let's see. By the way, how's chat doing?
Chat's doing good. I'm keeping up on it like I always do.
Let's see here. Pretty much it gets down to the point where I've already passed it, and I haven't even got down even a quarter of the way yet. Anyway, pretty much it goes back and forth, referring to 3D printing, referring to CNC machines, and then goes to the point where it actually calls the process of using a CNC machine additive manufacturing. And that's the point where it's like, okay, this person is just an idiot.
And I even have examples of parts that were machined to show you guys, so I'll try and show it. I mean, this is a giant Lego. Well, first off, I'll start off with, this is a Lego block that my friend Kamal over at Rapid Prototype Machining. If you look him up, I'll post a link in a little bit to his Instagram in the chat. But he made up this little Lego block out of aluminum a while ago with my logo on it, back when I was making that whole chess set thing, because I had to cut some sheet plastic, so I went out to a shop. But this started out as a piece of bar stock, and then it was cut down to final size. A better example is this giant Lego block that my old machine shop teacher made up. Thing is not, I mean, it's scaled off of a Lego, but it's not interchangeable with any actual Legos. It was made using scrap bar stock they had. But the same story, the thing started out as a solid piece of metal and was cut to final size. And then more proof, here we have that failed fidget spinner that I made the bearing hole too big for. This is what the bar stock used to look like. And this is what it looks like now. So you can still see that carrier stock at the bottom. More proof that this came from a piece of material and was cut to final size. Well, we all know 3D printing is called 3D printing or additive manufacturing because you start out with effectively nothing and you build up. Machining is subtractive manufacturing because you start with something and you work your way down. That's the thing that really irritated me about the article, is the person just kept jumping back and forth. Yes, I know technically a 3D printer is classified as a CNC machine because it is computer numerically controlled. I get that, but implying that CNC milling machines and lathes are the same as a 3D printer is pretty much equating a Tesla to a Model T. Yeah, they're both cars, but one of them runs on fossil fuels and the other one runs on battery power. So while they're both motor vehicles, they're in totally different brackets in terms of how they get around, what they do, yada, yada, yada. So you could argue, yes, they said CNC machine, and that is technically valid, but the way that they worded it and the way that they acted in the article showed a complete disregard for any logic, understanding, da, 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 da.
It's kind of trying to catch up with the chat here a little bit.
To keep you posted, pretty much, Chris said, I think to me, I can't safely be anything other than non-functional components, scope mounts, drips, that kind of stuff. I agree with him on that. Yep. Curtis said, did either of you email the writer of it? Not yet, but we should probably send them a link to this video as well and be like, look, we totally blew holes, no pun intended, in your whole story. I am a CNC machinist who owns a CNC mill, has a manual lathe. Technically, I own 2 CNC mills. I have a vast knowledge of, I mean, I don't consider myself an expert, but I have a vast knowledge of at least the processes of CNC machining, and I understand that it is not as easy as people think it is on camera. Jimmy, as well as 3D design and 3D printing, and Jimmy has a vast 3D printing and other manufacturing. A little bit of welding, sandblasting, painting. We're not, dimwits who don't know anything. We both understand that the way things were painted was not even remotely accurate.
Right. Yeah, it's just the way it was written. It was just like one person mentioned in Twitter. What the fastest way of getting attention is to take and blow it way out of proportion, and that's what this article was. Is like trying to just trigger people to get attention, and he actually believes that it's by the manufacturing community trying to squish 3D printing, any kind of other type of manufacturing ways that the hobbyists want to take and do stuff. And he kind of has a point. It's kind of, that's what it feels like. But once again, the manufacturing community has nothing to worry about when it comes to me, you, other people. I mean, we got 3D printers. Yes, we can print stuff, but let's face it, you're never going to take and do away with going to the store and buying something. You're going to need to buy a hammer. You're going to need to buy a screwdriver. You're not going to 3D print or mill those because it's not worth it.
I mean, for my final project in the machine shop class I took at CME Adult Education years ago, they've slightly changed the final project. It's still a hammer, but they've modified. So one side has a removable brass head and one side has a removable nylon head. So you actually have a nice soft blow hammer with interchangeable heads. And at some point, I want to make my own hammer on camera, something like that, probably partly over at the school machine shop, probably partly at home. We'll see. It's one of those for the future projects. But the main thing is, it's like, yeah, you can make everything in your life effectively yourself. Yes, there are people who build their own computers. Do you think the computer industry is terrified of people who go online and buy components to make their own computers? Heck no, they're not.
Dell's not worried about it. HP's not worried about it because in the long run, they know that they can build a computer cheaper than what we can build it.
Yeah, and the people who want to make their own computer in this example are doing it because, well, if you're like my dad, he does it because, one, he just has so much computer crap lying around and he gets so much stuff for cheap from friends and, flea markets and swap meets and crap. But the thing is, it's like, even in that case, he's only building his own computers because he finds it fun to do and he has the stuff to do it. But even then, he realizes that if you really wanted to, it is cheaper just to go out and buy a complete computer and then upgrade it. But he just chooses to do it himself because he's got all the time in the world, and that's what he does. That's totally cool. In my case, the reason
why people will take and they'll build their own PC is whenever they're going for the upper tier of the PC building. You're wanting to get the AMD 1900X, or you're wanting to get the Intel 7700K. You're not going to find that on Dell.com. You're not going to find that in the HP computer. You're not going to find that in your main computer manufacturers. That's going to be stuff that you need to go to either Amazon or Newegg, or you need to go up to Fry's Electronics or to Micro Center, and you need to buy those specific parts in order to put together the PC that you want. you're not going to go to Dell.com and get a water cooled PC. It's just not going to happen.
I know, or it's like, well, in my dad's case, he likes to run a lot of his little homebrew computers off Linux because it's free and there's a lot of cool programs in it and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it's like in his case, he's mostly doing it just because he has all the stuff and he likes to do it. But but yeah, that's a totally true point. It's like if you're somebody who needs a dedicated computer rig, you build it yourself because you're going to put in all the crap that you want. You get to keep out all the extraneous crap, except for the crap that Microsoft dumps on your computer, but that's a whole nother story. But in my case, when I make my own stuff, like this was a prototype three-way GoPro mount, so I could use two of my mag mounts here and then stick a camera here. I made this up for Hostech and other filming, and because all the machines were running coolant in the machines, I didn't even ask if I could stick the camera in there because I knew for a fact it was just going to be like filming through milk. It wasn't going to work. But, this is a good example of something I made for myself that nobody else is making because it needs to fit my specific application. And yes, I will be eventually releasing the files for this. But at the same time, do you think the companies are terrified that some mount that was created specifically for my application is going to totally undermine their business? I don't think so. I mean, I do totally respect companies that are a little bit concerned about people running out there and taking a cut out of their business. I respect that, and I understand that as somebody who designs things. But at the same time, they have to realize that as time we're going through another industrial revolution, and it's totally justifiable that people are freaked out about new technology. You look at when the sewing machine came out, all the tailors were panicked because they thought everybody was just going to buy a sewing machine and put them out of business. Well, the reality is, yeah, there were more people who did stuff at home, but it actually helped the community because it was cheaper to make clothing, it was faster to make clothing, tailors could knock out more stuff in a day, and all that stuff. One thing that's a really good quote from when I was at Hostech is Mark Terryberry, who does the Host Tip of the Day videos, made a really good statement in his live talk about trying to speed up the manufacturing process. He goes, back in the 1800s, at least 3/4 of everybody in the US had to be a farmer to supply enough food to feed everybody. Nowadays, it's under 5% of people that have to be a farmer because of all the automation and all the stuff that makes our modern farming more efficient. Now, I know some people have some problems with that, but when you look at it as a whole, or he brought up Tesla and SpaceX, they were able, you go, oh my gosh, they lost 100 people in the rocket division. Well, those 100 people were there to simply push a button to blow up a rocket remotely if it went wrong.
Right.
So yes, in one sense it sucks that, people did lose their job, but in another sense you have to say to yourself, if we want to become more efficient, there are going to be sacrifices that will be made along the way, and that's just the wheels of progress. So I feel like companies need to realize that yes, they do have fears about 3D printing, but they also need to be a little bit more open to new technologies and realize, hey, maybe we can actually leverage this to our advantage to reach out, run production market that we'd never touch because we'd need to have like 100,000 plus part order to even remotely justify and then like a temporary injection mold, plus say 3 weeks lead time to build the thing, plus another 3 weeks to set up the machinery to make it. Now in 3 weeks, we can have the parts go from prototype design to production to shipped out there and actually offer our customers more variety and more value for money versus less value for money. So I kind of feel like no, 3D printing is never going to replace machining. It's never going to replace casting. But if you look at people like Jerry over at Spectre 3D, I believe it is, he's using 3D printing, and he's got like 4 ColorFab stacker printers running almost nonstop, making investments for titanium and stainless steel castings But the advantage is it's very easy for the foundry to make changes, to add draft angles so parts come out better, strengthen stuff, modify things. It really modifies the workflow, and it actually makes things a lot more efficient because you don't need a pattern maker to spend a week making a pattern that might only get used once. There's advantages to it. And yeah, like you said, it's never going to replace anything, but if companies learn to, instead of fighting it, learn to embrace things and realize, hey, this is actually a useful tool, I think we could actually be better off than a bunch of companies running around potentially sponsoring fear-mongering articles going, oh, we're dead, without realizing we actually have a good opportunity in our hands. Let's try and maximize it.
Right. Real quick, let's go ahead and jump into the chat here. I just wanted to say hi to Keith, hi to John. We got Jeff, 3D Print Channel in here. How you doing, my friend? And I think that's everybody in there. Yep, we got everybody in there.
Sorry for going on my usual tangent rants as always.
Yeah. Man. Hey, the other thing too is like around here they started like normally when they have a crew that comes out and does let's say they go and they plant lettuce out in the fields. Okay, normally what they'll do is they'll do what they call transplant. So what they'll do is they'll have a crew go in, and what they used to do is have a tractor with say 4 or 5 seats on the back of it. There'd be 4 or 5 guys sitting there, and they would feed the plants in, and the low wheel would plant the plant as the tractor went down through the field. So you had that crew there. You had 2 people that was feeding the boxes of plants to them. And then you had another few people that go through and they'd thin the field and stuff like that. So you're talking by the time you got done, you had maybe 20 people in the field that were transplanting a field. It's down now. They just in the last 2 years came out with a machine that will take and do the transplanting. I kid you not. The tractor has 1 guy on the tractor. All of the rest of it's completely computer controlled. They have another guy operates the forklift that puts the pallets up in there with the trays with the lettuce. 2 people can transplant a field now in probably the same amount of time or maybe a little bit less time than what it took 20 people to do before. It's just crazy how automation just has really kicked in that way.
I'm totally with you on that. It's like the funny thing is when I was boarding the airplane in Oakland on Thursday night, I was doing my whole little, like, let me just shoot an intro, like, hey, everybody, Mega with Calvin here, and I'm going to Hostech, like that. And it turns out the dude in front of me was like, you're going to Hostech too? I'm like, heck yeah. He goes, I work for Selway, which is a large reseller in Northern California area. He goes, yeah, shoot me an email sometime. I'll let you know when we're having an open house and stuff. Because we got a lot of really cool automation stuff that you might find interesting. Things like robot arms and stuff. And Hostech video, you'll see that sped up part where there's that robot arm working in its little cell with the 2 lathes, loading parts between machines. But the advantage of it is, like they said on the tour, they're able to run 24/7 with very minimal night crew, very minimal weekend crew, because so much of the stuff is automated. It actually improves worker safety because somebody doesn't have to be there 8 hours a day manning a machine. One guy can man a couple of machines without being worked to death. It's really impressive.
Exactly. Real quick, Eddie Moiser, I believe the name is. Thank you so much. $5 donation. Thank you very much. He says, I cannot stand the idiots we have to deal with these days. Have a beer on me. I don't drink, but I'll drink a Coke. Thank you so much.
Or you'll have your grape sugar-free powdered drink in your red Solo cup.
Oh, you mean my Kool-Aid? I forgot to bring some.
Your Kool-Aid. Your fake aid. How about that?
my Walmart brand. You froze over there? No, there you go. You're moving.
I was typing back to Jeff. I will give Jeff a little shout out here. I feel for you, dude. I think he has like some kind of like tooth problem that means he's on meds or something. Bear with me, guys. I'm literally running on like a couple of hours of sleep. Literally the night before I was gonna fly out, I had to be up at like 8 in the morning to get all my stuff ready. Stayed up till like midnight because Danielle, aka my underwater filming friend, came on over. We hung out till about midnight. I got to bed around 12:30. I was up at 6:30. Then I had to fly up to Oakland from Burbank. Had some fun with security giving me the full crotch pat down. Then because I had my
Was
belt
it a
on
guy or
by
a girl?
accident.
Guy or girl?
It was a dude. Dude.
Uh, in LA?
Then down in Burbank, which is
It
like,
didn't happen
yeah,
in San Francisco?
no, it didn't happen in Oakland because I remembered to take my belt off like a smart person. Then I literally got into San Francisco, had about like no time to rest, ran over to my accounting class and pretty much threw my test out on the paper on the table, grabbed the handouts for that class for the night. My instructor says, go home and get some rest. Normally I get out of accounting class at like 8:30 at night. I was out of accounting class at like 6:45. Normally it starts around then. Got home, got to bed around 9. Then I had to wake up at 7 this morning to get all my stuff ready to go to art class. Went to class, then went to environmental science class, got out at about 2:30, got home around 3:15, crashed at around 3:30 till about 7, had a leftover slice of pizza, then got ready for the stream. So if I'm a bit burnt out and like tired and rambling, that is why. Because I am. Oh yeah, and I had the Mountain Dew Kickstart energy drink thing this morning, so I didn't totally snooze through art class. So needless to say, besides all the stuff that I did while I was down there, I am just like doing this. And then we're having a late night stream at that. So if I'm a bit slow tonight, that's the reason why.
I don't blame you.
Thank God I can
Random,
sleep
I
in
just saw your
tomorrow.
message. I'll get with you here in a little bit.
Same here. Sorry about totally blowing you off there, King Random. Nothing personal. It's just life has been insane between the Hostech trip and just personal stuff I'm not going to go into on the stream.
Watching jets on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, dude, that was epic.
That one just buzzed right over your head.
And then Jimmy comes up like a minute later. What's up, dude? Oh, hey, who's that guy? Oh man, but yeah, it's been crazy. So, and then on top of it, I've been doing a lot of 3D design work because I want to get some stuff back up on sale. I've got a lot of people going, I need this, I want that, and I'm like, okay. When I get back, I'll try and jump on it. Sorry. And then the Train Club's got Pleasanton show coming up. So like about a week before the show, me and Scott, one of the guys from the video, are going to be meeting up personally to finish up my module, and it's just like, oh dear, my life is nuts right now. At least midterms are over.
Yeah, I got to last weekend. I got to go up to Rockland, California, to the mini maker fair up there. Got to meet up with Curtis. Got to interview him, and then my stupid S5 cell phone. I don't know if the app died or what happened, but it was recording and then it just stopped.
That seriously sucks. I am like, knock on wood, super grateful that the only problems I had when filming while down south was my sister forgetting her lines on camera. But then again, you got to know she's not used to doing things on camera, so I understand that. And the other thing is she kept like moving the mic around a lot, and one of the parts was a little bit loose, so it'd make like a little bit of a bumping sound on camera. But knock on wood, thank God those were the only problems I had to deal with. But I feel for you with your S5 just out of the blue shutting down on you, and thank God you have the audio though. So that was a good save, but it kind of was a good nudge to get a better camera.
Yeah, I have the unboxing videos coming out, but That's what I got. Finally broke down. Beth knew it all had happened that day, and so the next day she's like, "You know what? Your birthday's coming up. Our anniversary's coming up. Let's just go ahead and get you a camera." So we went to Best Buy, and they thankfully they price matched Amazon, so we got it for $249, and then went ahead and got the
Nice.
warranty on it too. I told him, I said, I need a warranty so in case I drop it.
It's not a bad idea. Honestly, that's actually a really good price for a camera like that. I mean, for me, I prefer just using GoPros for now because that's what I've used for so long. But I told my dad, I'm like, if you're ever at one of these swap meets and you see like a good quality microphone or you see like a really good quality wireless mic set that you feel is a good price, please pick it up and I will gladly pay you for it because I do want to slowly start upgrading my equipment because let's face it, as cool as my little 3D printed mic is and my $5 lav mics are, they definitely get the job done. But I'm kind of feeling like as I'm getting bigger and I'm starting to go to bigger events and stuff, I really need to up my game because I really started to notice the drawbacks to the GoPro. I couldn't do like cool zoom shots or things like that. And you know, that's fine. I'm not saying, oh, everybody just, dump a bunch of money in my PayPal. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it's kind of like as time goes on, if I can kind of, whenever reasonable, upgrade my equipment, it's not a bad thing, you
Yeah.
know. But that is seriously awesome. You got that camera.
Well, I don't know if you remember at Maker Faire, but were you there whenever I interviewed Chuck?
I wasn't there when you interviewed Chuck, but I remember when we did our interview the first time around, the first try, because I had my camera rolling as backup, I remember at first you're like, oh, we probably won't need that, and then it turned out to be a good thing because my camera recorded the whole interview because your S5 probably overheated or something, and it stopped recording when we started the interview, and you're like, oh shoot, it didn't record, and I'm like, well, it's a good thing I have my stuff because I figured at least in the worst case scenario, we'd have my video, you'd have your Tascam audio, and because I was running my GoPro mic, my little handheld mic, we could at least sync the two up. So I was shooting mine partly for backup and partly for B-roll. But yeah, I remember when it happened to us that your camera stopped rolling, and thankfully we caught it in time. We were able to correct it, but that wasn't fun.
Yeah, it did then, and then it did it later that day with Chuck. I thought maybe Beth had poked the button on or whatever, and it stopped. But just looking back at it, I think it was something with the camera app or something on it because I finished the interview with Chuck, it didn't record. So end up thankfully we were still there, and Chuck was perfectly fine with doing a continuing and doing a second interview. I felt like I was going to die. I felt so horrible that day when that happened. And then
I hear you. I
Travis
think
recorded the one for, I think he recorded the one for Chuck, and they recorded the one with Joel. And it worked perfectly fine with Joel. Didn't have any more problems with it. And then within the last month, I've had 2 videos that it stopped while I was doing the recording. And then that happened the other day with Travis, and I was like, that was the final straw. It was like, I got to do something different.
I hear you. You're over 3K subs at this point. You're 3.8 according to what YouTube is saying down there. I think it's high time that you upgraded from a cell phone. Not that there's anything wrong with it. Don't get me wrong, but I think it was high time that you upgraded from your cell phone to something a little more reliable. And then you got the Tascam recorder, which works good.
That thing there, I have got my money's worth out of this thing. If it died tomorrow, I've made my money off of this thing.
Honestly, in lieu of a wireless mic, I am actually seriously debating picking up a Tascam as well, because I'm 95% sure that DaVinci Resolve that I edit in can do audio sync, and I can just run my cheap lav mic on the GoPro just to record audio, or just have like hold the camera close to somebody to record, like a test audio snippet, so it has the two linked up. But that in lieu of a wireless mic might actually not be a bad thing to look into for the future. I mean, for filming at home, it's kind of pointless, but for filming out in the field, it might not be a bad idea to have just for the sake of, something.
redundancy. That's the main thing, is
Exactly.
redundancy. That
Exactly.
way,
Oh, the other cool thing is, not to totally take over the stream, but my sister was nice enough to buy me another one of those $50 little GoPro knockoff cameras for my birthday, and I finally ordered it.
really?
Yeah, do we want to do a live unboxing? What do you guys say? What do you say, Jimmy? I don't want
Do
to take
it.
over the stream.
Do
Do
it.
it? Okay. Bear with the audio if it's going to be bad on this while I get this out of the crinkle wrap. Sorry to everybody's guinea pig that's watching this that's now going to go psycho because they think it's a food bag. Let me not take my fingers off with my awful knife.
Hey, it's great. It's great TV. Come on, do it.
Ah! No, I'm just
You should have got some ketchup.
The ketchup packets are downstairs in the kitchen, Jimmy. I'm not running to the kitchen in 2 seconds and coming back and making a bigger mess of my already messy set. So this is the exact same camera that I lost in the ocean originally, bought a replacement for, and then my sister's like, why do you want 2 of them? I'm like, because I want to keep one upstairs so I can film time lapses of the 3D printers with it, and I want to keep one downstairs so I can film time lapses or B-roll of me, doing work downstairs, and I don't have to constantly be running cameras around. I just have to, swap out a memory card or things like that. So this is the box that it comes in.
4K?
Claims it'll do that. I have not. I am going to do at some point in the future a side-by-side comparison of this to my Hero 3 Plus Black, where I'm literally going to have the 2 of them recording simultaneously with, according to the cameras, the same settings, and then letting you guys decide which one looks better, if that makes sense.
Now, is that 4K at 24 frames per second?
It says it'll do, according to the back specs, it will do 4K at 25, 2.7K at 30, 1080p at 60 or 30, H.264, I'm not sure what that means, and
Nice.
720p at 120, also H.164, wide angle lens, 170 degrees, waterproof up to 30 meters, Wi-Fi. What?
I said, have a good night, Rick.
Later, Rick. 2-inch LCD battery. Yeah, it's for what it is. It's actually a pretty nice camera, and personally, you'll see when I say it's almost like buying a camera, almost like buying a bag of mounts and getting a free camera. Because you'll see in a minute the amount of mounting stuff they give you is just absolutely nuts. Some of the stuff I feel is not the best, and I've kind of worked around it, but some of it's actually really nice. So let's pop this. So it has one of those lovely blister packs, and sorry if it's a little hard to see everything, guys. I'll do my best. So first up is the camera itself inside its waterproof case. It has a screen on the back. My only complaint with the screen on the back is unless you're pretty much staring straight at it, you can't see anything. But when you're setting up to do like a time lapse or something, it's extremely nice to have, especially in a tight space. When I do a video about this, I'll talk about how I have it set up so it doesn't run the LCD the whole time, because that just drains the battery like nobody's business if I'm running it off battery power. But it also has, it is not an identical GoPro mount on the bottom. So it has GoPro style mount, but the thickness of it is less and the width of it is a little bit less. So it will fit into a GoPro slot, but I wouldn't trust it for anything like ocean filming. I learned that the hard way. Personally, I would spend the money just to buy an actual GoPro little snap shoe thing. It's well worth the money. This one, if you really want to 3D print your own adapter for it and use the ones that's in the pack, you're more than welcome to. But if you're trying to interface it with, say, my GoPro rig or something similar, just buy the GoPro one. I feel it's 1,000 times better. So you get the camera. I have not used the remote yet, but you get a little wireless remote that allows you to start and stop recording or take photos, like turn on and off modes.
Nice.
That's pretty cool. I've never used it, but it's nice. It's one of those little things. Little manual for the remote. An okay English translation manual. The photos also help a lot. Some of these manuals are just like impossible to read. So this one's actually, considering it's in probably pretty much they just took Google Translate, it's actually the grammar is decent, which I appreciate. Then it has like some Velcro straps, I'm assuming, for some of the mounts and the remote, so you can say strap it to your wrist or something, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
It comes with 2 batteries, which is super nice.
That right there makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like it is it has 2 batteries. So after I lost my camera in the ocean, I have a spare battery. So I have up to 6 spare batteries floating around, which sounds stupid, but it's nice if you're going to use the camera a lot and you don't have the ability to power it off a USB source, or you're just going to travel with the camera and, you want to have multiple batteries if you're going out for the day, you can do that.
Now, how does that compare with an actual GoPro battery? Does a GoPro battery fit it?
No.
Okay.
It looks like its own little kind of like standard size battery. It looks a little bit like a Hero 2 battery, but it's not the same as the ones that fit a GoPro. Then it includes a USB cable. Ironically, the cables that it uses are the same style as a Samsung Galaxy S6, which is what I have, which is nice.
Yeah. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
What's up, PJ? I am unboxing currently the $50 camera that my sister was nice enough to buy me for my birthday, and this is the same camera same style that I lost in the ocean, and I'm starting to use for 3D printer time lapses and B-roll, so I don't have to tie up my actual GoPros, or I can use it in a risky situation. So if I lose it, I'm just out the camera cost, the memory card, and sucks I lost it, but it's not like I'm losing my $300 plus GoPro, which would be painful. Another Velcro strap. I need to like seriously go through and figure out how all this stuff works. You get some interesting two different sticky mounts that also have Velcro. So I'm assuming, actually, are these sticky mounts?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are sticky mounts. These, I assume, could be used as like a helmet mount or a sticky mount or both, which is cool. Then you get, I'm not going to go through all the individual ones, but you get a bunch of nice little arms. Like this guy is a medium length inline, so both sides are the same. Some of them are actually twisted 90 degrees, so if your mount can only go one way, you can rotate the camera 90 degrees. That's really nice. The only laughable bummer part is the power adapter does not have a USA plug on it, but any old cell phone charger will work with it. So this thing's like the only non-usable thingy in there, but whatever.
It doesn't have the other prongs to fit it?
No. But who cares? I mean, everybody's probably got 10 old USB adapters for their phone kicking around, so it doesn't matter. You can plug it into your computer. Get another snap mount.
Like this one?
Yeah. Like that. Now, this is one of the really cool mounts that they include, is like a roll cage or a handlebar mount. I used this when I went to Ardenwood in Fremont and I recorded on their train. I actually just secured this to the back of one of the handrails. I was able to get some good footage with it. And this actually is what I also use when I film with the Model Train guys. I just stick this on my custom light stand rod with an arm, and it lets me clamp to the light stand because the light stand was never really designed for cameras yet. But it works really good, and it's got like rubber inside. It's not perfect because the rubber is a little bit finicky, so I might 3D print a custom squishy part in there. We'll see, kind of go from there. Now, the charger is really cool, so I'm going to pull it out. It's a little bit janky looking, but it does 2 batteries at once, and it even has a little light indicator for when your battery's done. Now, the only quirk about it I found is you have to unplug and replug the power if one battery's done charging and you go to stick another battery in to reset the electronics. But it works good. I haven't had any problems, and it's nice that it does 2 batteries at once external from the camera. That's another really nice feature that this has that they included that I'm like, wow, other companies better take note, because that is a lifesaver, especially if you're me with like a whole bunch of batteries. I can set up pretty much a whole bank of batteries to charge, and I don't have to tie up the camera, which is a perk.
That is.
Big perk. You get kind of a, actually I have one unboxed. And they give you kind of a janky skeleton case. It does work. The one nice thing is it also includes an adapter where inside of the case, and this is something I might model is on some of my cases as well, is there's a brass insert that's melted in there. Then it has this unique adapter with pretty much a locking nut. So what you can do is you twist the top guy in where you want it. You can actually keep it like loose, so you can spin it to whatever angle you want. And you can twist that locking collar, and you could mount this thing at any angle you want, independent of your mount, which is really nice.
That's
So
awesome.
I use this skeleton case if I'm doing time lapses and stuff. It's designed to interface with like a visor mount, so you could use it as, say, a dash cam in a car. But that is one of the features that I wouldn't trust underwater. Like, I'm talking like on the rig. Say I had the thing sitting in a pool, I would totally use it. But it's a really cool feature that makes it easier to use. So there's that. More mounting stuff. You also get a tripod mount, which is nice. Then you get kind of this janky visor clip thing. Let's say you want to clip the camera to your car visor or your hat visor. They do include it. So, I mean, if you have a need for it, it's there, which is nice. You get a non-waterproof back door if you want to do audio, which is nice. Don't really have a need. But then they also include a little lens cleaning cloth. And then Jimmy's favorite packet of all, you get a couple of zip ties, and you also get that little safety line thing that I shoulda, coulda, woulda used all that time ago, but I didn't. Which is another really nice feature that they include in there that's like $8 a piece on Amazon. Gosh darn it. I should sell those things myself and make bank. I'm like, seriously? People want $8 for that thing? Seriously?
Man.
But yeah, that's, I mean, now you kind of get what I mean by you buy a box full of mounting stuff and you get a free camera in the box as well. I mean, if you had a GoPro and you didn't care about the camera, you're almost better off just buying the camera for all the free crap included and then giving the camera to a friend.
Exactly.
You know, and the mounts and stuff are GoPro compatible. I've used them with my GoPro. You know, it works good. I don't think, though, yeah, the remote is splash proof, so you could probably get, you know, a little bit of rain on it, but it's not necessarily waterproof. But it is nice that it is splash proof, so say you're like filming near the water and you want to take photos of your friend remotely, you can do that. I need to mess around with this and actually figure it out, but I don't know if it has selective channels or if one remote will set off all the cameras, which could be an advantage or a disadvantage, but you know, there's that. And then it also has the ability to, I have not done it, be operated wirelessly from your phone. So I haven't done that as well because I didn't see the need, but because it has the built-in Wi-Fi, it can do that.
That's
So
a pretty good setup.
the cool thing is, I don't know if you can see it or not, but here's an example of all the different mounting stuff that you can do using the mount. So they give you like a good little pictorial guide, and then they give you a good little explanation. I'm still going to do a video about how to operate it, like a very, you know, hey, here's how you use it, here's the basic settings, yada, yada, yada. But it's definitely one of those things where if somebody wants to get into having an action camera, or they're like me and they want to have something that's low cost, the quality, I'll be perfectly honest, the quality is, you can tell there's a quality difference between it and, say, my GoPro. But at the same time, you say to yourself, for $50, if all you're doing is just shooting a quickie time lapse of something, not that big of a deal. You know, it's, at the end of the day, it's still going to get the job done. I mean, I know there's limitations to it for sure, but at the same time, I say to myself, $50, sign me up. You know, let me get a link for it in the video description while you talk.
Yeah, you have to pop in a link under the chat too.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that right now.
PJ's looking
'Cause,
for what it looks like.
yeah, I'll put it this way, PJ. It's Yeah, I would totally do that. Just give the camera to your nephew and be like, "Hey, dude, try and not totally, destroy the thing." But it's a very good camera. I mean, Danielle is potentially going to be going to Europe with a relative, and she was like, "Is there any way that I can have like one of these cameras to bring with me in a rig?" I'm like, "Can you shoot me some sweet footage?" She goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'll see what I can do." Wink, wink.
That's
But
awesome.
it's like but it's like, I was telling her about it. I go, honestly, it's not the same as a GoPro, but I'm like, for the price, it gets the job done. She goes, no, that's totally cool. She goes, I wish I had one of those, like when I went jet skiing or I went traveling different places. She's like, because it allows you to do more than a cell phone. I'm like, exactly. And it's easy for me to set the camera up with all the different settings so nobody has to, that's all taken care of. Because some of the settings out of the box are a little bit funky. Like it won't initially do a time lapse out of the box. You have to change a few of the settings. But I'm going to do a video about that where I go into depth about how to set the thing up, what works the best. But I am going to do some side by side comparisons of the camera in both time lapses and filming in various conditions to show people what to expect, if you will, out of it. And sure, it's not exactly the same, but it definitely gets the job done, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Looks like NLTMW is in the house.
What's up, dude?
Well, it is 12 a.m. Do you want to call it?
I say we should probably call it. I am like running on adrenaline fumes because I unboxed the camera, but I am fading fast.
Well, I'm glad you got to open up that camera live on here, and now you get to. Are you going to be? So you're going to go ahead and get that video done pretty soon, then, and show them the difference on it, or?
Probably, here's my video release schedule. I was going to try and release a video by like Wednesday night of me talking about what the heck Hostech was, but I'm just too burned out, so I'm going to wait on that till Saturday probably. I'm just going to make that a regular Saturday release video. Or I'm going to talk about what Hostech is, what you go there and see, who do I recommend it for, and my experiences with it. Because a couple of people I think were interested in like what the heck it was. Because I felt bad that I pretty much just like dumped all these videos out there and I never gave like an introduction video to it.
Yeah.
So life just got busy and it didn't happen. But so I'm going to work on that, and then I also shot some videos of my sister's tiny house, and I also worked on a custom copper pipe towel rack holder for her. We weren't able to get it installed on camera because Lowe's down in Southern California did not have. We only could find one of the mounts that we needed for sticking it to the wall, which was a bummer. But at least I showed me building it on camera, which was cool. So I'm going to be hopefully releasing that as kind of like a quote week. It's probably going to be like a 5 or 6 day long thing where every day, probably starting on like a Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday morning, I'm going to release every day a different video about the tiny house, just to spread it out a little bit so it's not just like all at once. The videos are no more than 5 minutes a piece tops, except for the towel rack one, which is a little bit longer. But who cares? They're pretty much just my sister going, hey, this is this part of the house. This is the bathroom. Here's what it's like. Moving on. Things like that. So, they're little updates for people who are interested. And then I have the train show in Pleasanton coming up, but I haven't even released the last work video for that. So that's probably going to come after I do this video. So probably the release schedule is going to be Hostech overview, this camera, train show, tiny house, other stuff. So something along those lines, but hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks tops, probably about 2 to 4 weeks to be honest, I'll have a video out where I talk about the camera, and then I'll release simultaneously with it a how to use the camera to get the maximum stuff, because I still need to go out with the thing and actually shoot some time lapse and shoot some comparison videos, so that way I actually have something to benchmark, so people can benchmark it against a GoPro and make up their decision from there.
Cool. And then
Yeah.
on me for Friday, I'll have my unboxing video for this camera, and that video will be my first one that will be up on YouTube at 60 frames per second.
Now the real question,
graduating. I didn't go to 4K, but I went to 1080p at 60 frames per second. So it's going to be a step up.
ever since I got the laptop, everything I've shot has been 1080 at 60. Before then, sometimes I'd have to shoot 1080 at 60 for the low light setting, but now I just do everything at 1080 at 60. I know it takes a little longer to upload, but the quality's higher. So I'm still with you. I don't see the need for 4K yet, especially on my horrid internet. It takes long enough to upload 1080, and I'm not shooting like a documentary film yet. So it's kind of like 4K would be nice, but it's just not worth it at this point. I mean, as it is, 1080 is considered like, quote, HD, and for what we do, it's more than adequate.
Oh yeah, as last count, YouTube doesn't really play in 4K anyway, so
They have to compress everything anyway. So I kind of view it as, for those who can view it in 1080 at 60, I have that option. For me, I have to watch it like 480 to get a video to load properly, usually.
yeah.
Or half the time I'm just listening to the audio, so it makes no difference.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, guys, for watching. You have a great day. Take care, and I will see you in the next video. And take it away, Calvin.
Well, thanks, guys, as always, for tuning in. Thanks again, Jimmy, for hosting. Next week, I will be hosting the video, so no obligation to, but I'd highly recommend dropping a subscribe and ringing the bell and doing all that notification squad crap, so that way you don't miss out on it. We're going to do the usual, back and forth chit chat stuff. Not sure on the daytime. We'll figure all that out. I'm tired. Whatever. So pretty much in short, if you guys haven't dropped me a subscribe, feel free to, so you don't miss out on next week's show, which will be on my channel. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks again, as always, Jimmy.
Anytime, my friend. You have a good one. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Peace out.